This is Between Hooksets. I'm Chasen Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Curt Underhill from the fishing crew.
What's up, dude?
I was just doing my podcast face exercises.
You look like you should be going to a banker's convention, not on a fishing podcast.
Oh, why? Because I've got a collared shirt on?
You're throwing me off, man.
Chris Philen's going to be on the show. Are you kidding me, man? I'm not. He's like Walleye royalty. I didn't want to look like some schlep in a free T-shirt. You know, I mean, I'm not going there. I'm going whole hog. By the way,
you're there, buddy.
Yeah, you just don't like the fact that that I can look a little bit on the sophisticated side, right?
Yeah, you got me. You threw me for a loop tonight, and with your hook set, I was like, God, is he going to a bankers convention or is he going to do a podcast?
Golf.
Golf.
Oh, you can't. Right here. See, I'll give you $1 if you can figure out what that insignia is. I know it's small. It's far away.
Is it the alligator?
No, it's a shark. So it'd be what? Greg Norman?
I have no idea.
I wouldn't have a clue either. I wouldn't have a clue.
Lost me with the word golf.
Oh, well, that's too bad. I haven't golfed for a while.
I'd rather be fishing.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'd rather be fishing, but when it's raining or lightning and thundering and stuff, you can't be in the boat. So I'd rather be golfing then.
So you'd rather swing a metal rod in the air when it's lightning out. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, yeah. Oh, well. I didn't put on my HD makeup here tonight, but doesn't really matter.
Well, it's going to be a big night. Nobody's going to be looking at us anyways with Chris from Target Walleye on. You know, anybody who doesn't know who Target Walleye is, the fishing world lives under a rock. And this has kind of been something we've been after for a while. And we happened to get to know Chris over the last, few months since he's been involved in it. I'm pretty excited to bring Chris in tonight.
No doubt. Chris.
Oh, he's got.
Oh, there you go. The quintessential hook set.
I was going to say, I heard your hook set there, and I had to get involved and see if I could do a little bit of the same. Thanks for having me, guys.
I like it. Dude. Imitation is the best form of flattery. I'm digging on it. That's fantastic. I love it.
Well, I watch you guys all the time, and I went with the free T-shirt, so
hey, it's okay. You got to roll with the sponsors, right?
So my office is actually a converted bedroom, and in this closet here is my go-to wardrobe. Because if I stand up, I'll be in my underwear because I just flip shirts for these Zoom meetings and.
I can't stand up because of the holy underwear I've got. I see you got a holy wall behind you there.
It is a little holy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm going to pop this up right now because I mentioned holy and we're looking at the cross behind you. You've got a very strong belief, a very good Christian. I see this a lot on your Facebook page, or at least from time to time. So talk about this a little bit. I see the lion a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, as far as in Christianity, we know that Jesus was the lamb, that he was went out the lamb. And when he comes back to save the world and call us all home, he's coming back as a lion. So that's the premise behind the lion. And in this day and age, we all need to be lions. It's a rough and tough world out there. And, we got a lot of confused people out there. We also have a lot of people that are, I always say, lukewarm as far as Christianity, and you really got to, be a lion about your faith. It's, I wear it on my sleeve. I guess you want to call him our boss. Al is a perfect example of that. And he's been a great mentor for me and for so many others. And, that's kind of the lion. Also, on a side note, I've kind of been a Nisswa lion with the Lions organization, which is all about giving back to the community in a lot of ways. And, and again, that's kind of a Christ-like thing, is to try to serve others. And my wife and I really try to spend a lot of time, finding ways that we can plug into the community and helping other people. And along the way, my motto is my JOB is in the fishing world, but my career is fishing for men.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Seriously. Yeah, I love it. I'm glad I brought it up. The next thing I want to do before I forget too is, so seriously, what's it like to go to work with these two guys? I mean, the three of you. That's got to be. You want to talk about royalty? That's got to be pretty amazing.
It's a lot of fun. Brett will say it all the time as well. It's just like we're both like, pinch me. Is this real? So it's like a kid in a candy store. I mean, my story and how I got to Target Walleye is pretty amazing, and just a thing from God for sure. There's no way that I could have orchestrated this. I actually, if you see these memes that come out, like it'll be post a picture of your senior, 12 pictures, no words or anything. Well, there was this thing going around a couple of years ago. Actually, it was about 3.5 years ago. And it was post your favorite athlete, one picture a day for 10 days, no words. And number 4 on my list was Al Linder. And I had a whole collage of Al Linder. And literally, it was, I was always asked, I was a big athlete growing up, and I was always asked, hey, Chris, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a baseball player. Of course you do. Everybody does. If the sports doesn't work out for you, what do you want to do? Well, if I can't play ball, I want to fish pro like Al Linder, and here I am, 30 some years later, and I'm working side by side with the man, and I call him friend. So it's been a tremendous blessing. And working alongside McComas too is a riot. I mean, quite frankly, in the Target Walleye world, I often refer to myself as Brett's agent, which is it's a beautiful thing. Burning at both ends constantly, but he's a tremendous resource. He's a great guy. He's so fun, and he's a heck of a hammer as well. So I'm just surrounded by great people.
That's got to be pretty awesome. I mean, it's honestly to be friends with you and to be friends with all of the great people out there in the industry, from Brian Brosdahl all the way down, Tom Wynn, Tom Seberg.
Tommy.
Yeah. So I don't know if Seberg's watching yet or not. Tom, hello, testing 1 2 3. Is this thing on? Just a little bit curious. So you mentioned something about the real Chris Philen. How about the fake one?
Oh yeah.
I love that. I have not. I decided I'm not stepping into that. Whatever, who cares? But you and Brett there, it is pretty amazing how the AI can create something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually have another one that I haven't dropped yet. I've been waiting for the right time. We have a couple of cats, and I was really anti-cat. We moved out to this kind of country house, and they brought this, what was going to be the barn cat. Well, the barn cat turned into the inside cat, but he's straight hunter. He's a great cat. And I just, the cat's amazing. He really is. But she's always on me about how much I love the cat and everything. And when I first actually plugged in my stuff of creating this, it came up with all this crazy cat stuff. So I haven't never dropped that, because I never hear the end of it from my wife. And I know she's probably watching, so she's going to want to see it now.
The crazy cat, man. All right, you have one more obsession here, and I honestly, hello, Joel, Ashley earlier. So, dude, I mean, you are all about food, and I don't know if you're the reason that I have all of these different food Facebook pages popping up, but hi Jody. Honestly, the food. How come you're not 350 pounds?
Well, I kind of am. It's just that I got this camera working for my favor tonight. I manipulated it a little bit, but no, I love cooking. I always have. It's been a passion. As a matter of fact, that I started cooking when I was just before I turned 15 years old. A bunch of buddies, a handful of us, got jobs as busboys at a restaurant real close to home, and I was always dinking around in the kitchen. And the chef came back to me one day and said, you spend more time you do up back here than up there. How would you like to cook? And I said, I'd love to. And, I was too young, so I had to get my mom's permission, but I did. And so I started cooking at 15, and all my buddies were busting tables, and went on from there. I chefed at a lot of restaurants, and just got to the point where it just got burnt out. And finally followed Dad's advice and tried to work smarter and not harder.
I think it's great. I think it is. The thing that surprised me was the sardine peeps on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'd like to convert you a little bit if I could.
Mhm.
Right. I knew we were going to the peanut butter and bologna is disgusting. We found one person that is good, and that is it.
I also
All it takes is one, Curt. All it takes is one. I mean, that's
I also
it.
dropped some Target walleye walleye flavored Lay's potato chips on Target Walleye a few days ago. So that was a big hit.
I saw that, and frankly, that was an inspiration for mine. Hey, Jim.
Jimmy, break out the Traegers. I'm coming to Winnie. Bring out the Traegers. Let's do it.
Oh, I love it. So let's. Oh, Curt, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you work with the legendary Al Linder. I mean, that guy is a wealth of knowledge in the fishing world. What is a day like sitting there? I mean, you can't have I feel like your conversation with him, you can't say something he doesn't already know 10 times over.
And it's really funny because that is so true. And yet Al is Mr. Pump you for information. He'll call me up randomly and like, hey, Chris, what's going on? Where are you at? What's going on there? Where are they biting? What are they hitting on? Seriously, every time you talk to the guy. But yeah, I mean, it's so fun listening to him talk. And I mean, literally, you ask or bring up something and he will dig into it. It doesn't matter what it is. He's got an answer for everything. And I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, amazing. And talk about information and just history. Walking through Linder Media, especially the first time, it's just like, I always say when you walk into the main office, I posted this online once. There's like this big oval table and all these plaques and pictures. And it's like walking into Camelot and seeing the round table. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And then wow. Brett actually spending a lot of time at the office. Neither one of us really have, I mean, Target Walleye is a completely separate entity from Linder Media. Yeah, Brett, for instance, has an office up there, which it happens to be Ron Linder's old office. And talk about history. He's got an entire wall of books. I mean, every issue of like the In Fisherman and everything you could think of that came from those guys is there. So just absolute history. And yeah, there's so much knowledge there. You just walk through, and I mean, you got Jimmy Linder in one office, and then you got Jer and Ty, and I mean the list goes on, and it's just so much power in the fishing world, and it's just kind of in awe and pinching yourself again.
Well, you mentioned Jeremy. Tell Jeremy I said hi. So he was one of the first guys that did my In Through the Outdoors episodes, and it was a big start. He ended up getting me a radio station because he was a guest, and so I always owe him a debt of gratitude. So he might not even remember who I am, but doesn't matter. Tell him I said hi. Yeah, so how do you go throughout the day, or do you try to talk like Al? I mean, seriously, I think if I worked with Al, I would be, because I was upstairs in the bathroom trying to talk like Al, and I'm like, I just can't do it. I tried, but
it's funny every once in a while when I'm telling a story about, Al called me up and said something. It seems like I can get it out there pretty good, but when I try to do it, it just is a total flop.
I've heard so many Al Linder impressions over my years. Some are good, some are terrible.
Yeah.
They're fun to hear. I did an episode on my In Through the Outdoors. I think I found 4 or 5 guys that did impressions of him, and I laughed at every one of them, and I thought, you know what, I want to chop that up and make an episode out of it, because it's just so damn fun to hear him talk. It is it's fantastic.
So
it really is.
Target Walleye, for anybody that might be watching that lives under a rock, explain what Target Walleye is. And I know you're kind of newer to the organization, but how to get started, why to get started, and what's it all about?
Sure. Well, Target Walleye is about 10 years old now. It was originally started because Ron Linder, the late great departed Ron Linder, reached out, and this is the version I got from Jim Kelkafin, who I'm guessing everybody pretty much knows too, Hall of Famer Jim Kelkafin, former director of the Professional Walleye Tour, and Ron reached out to Jim, and they were talking about, you know, the walleye industry was really falling back since they, you know, the in fishermen left the Linder enterprise, and then you know, the PWT went under, and there wasn't as much action going on in the walleye world, and what could we do to revive it? And so they started talking, and they didn't want to get into, you know, a magazine or anything like that again. They realized everything was going digital, and there was this guy in the bass world that was really nailing it and had been for some time. His name was Jay Kumar. And so they called up Kumar and, you know, talked about it and got Al involved, and they partnered up. And that was the four horsemen, if you will, who started Target Walleye. And Jim Kelkefin went to all the shows and just grassrooted this thing, just started asking everybody for emails. And that's how our subscription list started. And, you know, some different people had their hands in writing the email. And then, you know, a little bit down the road, you know, they got Brett, and that ended up working out tremendously. And then about 3.5 years ago again, I was a senior sales executive for a software and website company, and made a great living, loved what I was doing for a long, long time. But to the point again where I just had no joy in my job, and it was leading me down a very dark road that I didn't want to go down again. And I had a bunch of PTOs always at the end of the year that I took off most of December. And towards the end of December, I called my boss and said, you know, when my PTO is up, I think I am. And he thought I was nuts, thought I was kidding. Well, who's getting you? Where are you going? What do you got cooking? And I'm like, I really don't have anything. I honestly, I just can't do this anymore. I believe God's going to open a door. And about 2 weeks later, Kelkefin called me up and said, hey, I know you follow Target Walleye, and we always talked about you helping out. Would you like to do that? And that was kind of the door being cracked. That wasn't going to pay any bills. It wasn't really, I was, you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'd do it for free. I get to work with you guys. You kidding me? And anyway, it was kind of a staging process, I think, and things worked out. And then I went to ICAST. I had a lot of conference experience. I ran all over the country for this other company and career that I was in for over a decade. And after ICAST, they said, we really like what you're doing. Could you put some more time in? And I'm like, I told you need somebody to put more time in, but I got real bills. And they're like, no, that's what we mean. Can you figure out what it would take? And so I talked about it with them, put some stuff on paper, and the gang prayed about it. And they came back and said, hey, how fast can you start? I walked across the hall and put in my notice, and the rest is history. I've been here a little over 3 years.
That is amazing. Isn't it something how God goes to work in your life? I am in that situation right now where for years I've said what I was going to do, what I wanted to do, where I was going to kind of go, and things are falling into place a year early. And I didn't try. I mean, I did whatever. It's so crazy. So I'm glad you experienced that. Makes me feel better. And I'm sure other people listening, you know, obviously when that happens, when things happen that you couldn't make happen, it is truly amazing.
Absolutely. It's faith over fear. I mean, you got to believe and really believe and be willing to step out in that.
Yeah. So I think about Target Walleye. I subscribed probably right when it started, but was there a Target Ice as well? Do you remember that?
Well, technically, once the hard water season hits, we turn to Target Walleye Ice. Some of my shirts actually have that logo on there. And what the only difference is once we hit hard water, we're not walleye exclusive. We actually will cover all species for ice fishing. That's why you'll see us doing crappie shots. We'll do videos up in, you know, Baker's and Baker's, excuse me, Baker's up in Manitoba, and, you know, do lake trout and, you know, just about anything that swims under the ice can be covered in Target Walleye Ice.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned crappie. So let's pop this up quick. This is brand new, and I would guess it's going over like hotcakes or hot crappies. I mean, whatever. I enjoy it. I'm finding that I caught a crappie this winter. That was a 14-incher. Wasn't huge, but I went, I can't wait for 55 to 60 degree weather. So you know, so I'm really paying attention to Target crappie because there's a lot of good information in there.
Well, I absolutely love crappie fishing. And as I mentioned to you, if I was going to do this, I was going to do it from my boat because there's some prime time crappie fishing right now.
Sure.
The caveat is I decided against it because I don't know what it's like in South Dakota. I'm guessing it's windier than it is here, but it is gusty today. And I didn't want to deal with, you know, a lot of.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
So I decided to, you know, get through that and just do it here. But nonetheless, target crappie is something we have been talking about for some time. You know, when we think about the ice belt in north where our target walleye is really predominant, crappie fishing is everything. You know, walleye fishing is up here down south. I mean, I've experienced it now firsthand, and it is amazing. It is so huge, and people have just been asking for it. We just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. So
sure,
we have had an intern working on the Bass Blaster side, and his name is Brett Jolly Jr. and he's worked out really well. And it turns out, you know, he's not only a bass hammer in the collegiate scene, he also guides crappie fishing, and he's just a great young man, and he's really into it. And he turned out to be the lead guy on that. And then another caveat of growth, one of my best friends, Joel Vanderkroll, who's been in the industry for a long time, very well known in videography and photography. You know, I just kept trying to bring him in, and lo and behold, we've started using him more and more. And now he's part of the team. And so we've expanded our bandwidth on not only target walleye for some of our video and editing capabilities and content creation, but also Joel is kind of the slash mark, if you will. It's Joel and Brett that are kind of behind the scenes on the target crappie, and it has taken off. I mean, way faster and bigger than we even thought it was going to. I mean, we launched it about 6 weeks ago, and I don't know the number exactly, but we've got to be at, if not over 30,000 subscribers already.
Yeah, that's a fantastic fast build. You know, okay, sorry, I was laughing a little bit because a little surprise there. So, Brett, how you doing?
How's it going, fellas? Say hi.
It's good here. I'm sorry. Oh, hey there.
This is Maisie.
Yep, Maisie. We see you on Facebook all the time. It's great that you got to join Dad.
Can you say
hey,
hi?
Check this out, Maisie. I was anticipating your dad was going to be on Between Hooksets.
Hey, Brett McComas is on Between Hooksets. That's pretty funny.
So how does it, Maisie, how does it feel to have a really famous dad? You're going to be shy, aren't you?
She starts out slow, and then afterwards she won't stop talking. So
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's all right. There we go. There we go. Making faces at the camera. Oh, that's funny. I love it.
Right out of the shot.
Now, she is going to be your face.
this is one reason I couldn't commit to being here on time tonight.
You know, just the fact that you guys are there is amazing. And Chris, thank you for being on and hooking us up with Brett and getting a chance to at least to say hello. And someday when Maisie's in school or Wednesday night at church or something, we'll get Dad on and we'll get serious about it. But Brett, good to have you on. So you know, we've got kind of run through the whole gamut from the fake Chris Philen and fake Brett to Chris's food obsession. Talked about target walleye. I want to pop this up because this popped up on target walleye here. This thing is amazing. I'd love to see that in person. Who was that was doing some little underwater deep water diving, I guess?
I don't remember exactly. I was the one. I shared that post. It's on. I think it's Cody or Corey is his first name, but I don't.
I should have looked. I'm throwing you under the bus, right? Expecting you to know everything out of 10,000 posts you shared today. You're supposed to remember everybody's name. It's pretty hard to do.
So, Brett, you go out. We kind of got Chris's background. How did you get into the target walleye world? And I mean, we asked him, what's it like working with legendary Ron Linder when you got a new idea and he's done everything 10 times?
I won't go super in depth because I've told the story too many times. People are probably sick of hearing it, but basically because I made Instagram posts about fishing is how I got found. They wanted help starting the Target Walleye Instagram page, and they kept coming across my account because I happened to go to Lake Winnipeg and was posting tons of pictures of emerald green walleyes that that big, and eventually they were like, hey, can you help us start an Instagram page? And that slowly just turned into 5 hours a week to 10 to 20 to 30, and all of a sudden I was writing the email, and now it's been a decade.
A whole entire day isn't even 30 hours.
Oh my! Well, now she's talking. She's talking now. That's good. Okay. So let's get into some of the stuff that you do. Of course, you got the top 5, but you got a new sponsor. Shields is the new sponsor. That's a big partnership. You guys tell us about that.
For sure, it's super exciting.
Yeah. Well, I was just the giant Shields fan since, the first moment I walked in their store. I just loved the atmosphere. You could actually get help. They had great customer service. I think I walked in there one time with a rod broken in 2 places, and they just go pick out a new one. I couldn't believe it, but I was always such a big fan. And also, talking about faith, they're the only retail company that I know of that reaches out and sends me a Christmas and an Easter card every year. Wow. So I was like, their whole character and business model lines up with us perfectly. So I immediately, when I came in, I said, why aren't we working with Shields? And of course, we had a long-term agreement with Fish USA, and they have been absolutely great. But the issue that we come across is that they just didn't have the inventory to cover our full spectrum, like ice houses, apparel, electronics. A lot of the rod and reels that we're using or talking about our sponsors are offering now. They just didn't have the ability to get. So we had a great relationship. It's been on the table. It's just been a timing thing, and the timing finally came to fruition about a month ago now, and we're excited about it, and we just want to let everybody know that Shields is there. They're on our in all of our links now. So if you click on those, you'll, instead of being directed to Fish USA, you're now going to go to Shields and be a part of their great organization and their service and promise to get you taken care of. And they just always have great inventory levels and sales. So it's just going to be a win-win for everybody.
The only thing I dislike about Shields is when you walk in there with your wife and she goes one level and you go a different, and you get to the cash register with 2 full carts.
The one thing I'm trying to figure out, I would like to know how you get on the Christmas and Easter card list, because they send me stuff, but it's a bill every month.
Shields is a great sponsor of ours with the fishing crew too. And I mean, again, I think one of the things I really thrive about Shields is they actually send their experts out to learn from pros. Yeah. When you're talking to them, it's not just some random ramble of what you're doing. It's actually, they know what they're talking about when you're in the store talking to a fishing expert. I don't know any other store that does that.
Right. They somehow spend more time on the water than we do, and it's what we do. Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was another great fit, because we're really Target Walleye as a whole. We're the vehicle to get content in front of our viewers and our subscribers. And when we have wonderful sponsors, they might have the best product in the world and some great this and that, but if they don't have good content, it's really hard for us to do what we do, or what Brett really does on the email side. So Shields was another perfect fit, because if you look at whether it's YouTube or social media, who puts out better content than Shields? I mean, they're always, whether it's in their store or on the water or in the field hunting, great content producers.
Well, hand it to them every April when we're doing Cedar Shore. They are, as we're leaving, they're coming in to start the Shields University. And you got the pros and all those guys coming in, and I think they spend an entire week there, don't they, Curt? And they're teaching and training.
University, and they do in classroom, on the water training. Like I said, so when these kids are telling you, guys that are telling you to buy this rod in the store, it's not just because they like the color of it. They've actually fished it. They know what they're talking about when it's there, and it's incredible. I mean, and I think the coolest thing about the entire operation is employee owned. I mean, the Shields operation is employee owned, and every one of those employees has a say in stuff, and it's pretty cool.
It is.
Well, and you talk about
I've always said is
go ahead,
never trust somebody at a bait shop or a retail store giving you fishing advice if they don't have tan lines from sunglasses from time on the water. And when you go into a Shields and you go to the fishing department, they got it.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? Jaden Thomas is a perfect example of that.
Yes.
Caden Karst, I mean, it's truly amazing. Those guys are dedicated to what they do. And it's truly amazing. And before we get, man, we could go in 1,000 directions. I don't want to forget about this. The new top 5 series. This whole tips and techniques thing is pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. Finally just kicked that off. I actually was just working on the next episode today. And if anybody who's watched the Seafoam and Shields top 5, similar kind of format or style, but this we really deep dive into techniques in like specific gear hacks and stuff that'll catch fish tomorrow if you're going out.
Yeah, it's inspirational. I think for a guy like me that's looking for content from other people, because I'm doing a radio show and I'm finding all of this stuff from the internet. It amazes me the number of people who don't have Facebook, Snapchat. They do spend time on YouTube, but there are just a ton of radio listeners out there, and it's fun to bring some of this really cool stuff back to radio and share that because there is more to life than the social media. But Chris, you got a look on your face like, I don't know about radio.
That's what it's all about. Teaching people new stuff, having everybody learn a little something that they can try on their backyard lake, but at the same time, just keeping it light and having fun with it. Because, I mean, you can't take everything so seriously. We're putting out content. I want it to have that feel like you're in the boat with your buddy. And, I mean, the little back and forth banter that goes on when you're 3 fish up on the guy in the back of the boat or whatever, that's the feel I want to try to capture with the content we do. And that's why we do it the way we do it.
Well, and that's 100%. I mean, we were paddle fishing this weekend. We had 2 boats out there, and we were joking that my buddy Goody was in the one boat and he had 3. And he's like, I got 3 on paddle track and you only have 2. So we did the half track. I ended with 4 on paddle track and he ended with 3. So it was a good day. But I mean, got with paddle track going.
I love it, man. The look on my face was I was thinking about something that just happened today. It's usually if I talk to somebody about Target Walleye and they haven't heard of us, and like they're not getting the email or something, and then I'll explain a little bit about us and I talk about the Target Walleye YouTube show and a little bit, and they go, "Oh wait, you're talking about the bearded guy with the plaid shirt," and so they all resonate to the YouTube. Today, I'm actually talking to a guy who's a rep for a company who's interested in advertising, and he's a subscriber and loves the email, but he had no idea about any of the video. He goes, "I got to watch this," and I'm telling him about the top 5 in the video, and I said, "Man, if you love the email, you're going to really like the video."
And how do you miss that? Because you guys, the Target Walleye is all inclusive. I mean, everything is there, right? Because you got the top 5, or each of the top 5. You can't miss anything unless you're just not paying attention. But here again, we've all got busy lives, right? Because I will get a new Target crappie this afternoon or early this evening. I think one popped up. And we had a new Target Walleye. Was it today or yesterday? So we've got this new content, and I always flip through because I'm looking at pictures, checking things out, and then whoa, and then I'll go back and I love, Brett, you always pull history. There's something that you found from 10 years ago, something from 5 years ago that is completely relevant today. And I think maybe you had done something on Greg Bond with his unfortunate, untimely death, he and his wife. But I didn't know about Greg Bond. I had no clue. And so you just learn so much. So thank you for everything that you do on Target Walleye, Chris and Brett and everybody that's involved with it, because it's not easy. I tried to do a bump board newsletter for walleye tournament anglers. And I got it going. It's a ton of work. And I'm like, nope, it's just not time for that yet. And I could sit in front of my computer for hours and hours and days and days. So do you sleep?
Man. No, not really. I mean, 5 hours or so here and there, but no, thank you. I seriously appreciate that. But seriously, nothing that we do would be possible without diehard fish heads like you who enjoy the content. Because if I was just making these lame jokes to myself and laughing by myself, which I do too much, it wouldn't be a career, I guess. But
Well, the other thing that's really cool, and you talk about fish heads, anybody can make target walleye. I mean, even I made target walleye with my hunchback walleye and my subcompact northern, and so that's the cool thing. You don't have to be famous to be on target walleye. You could just be a regular average fisherman and be a part of the fun, right?
For sure. I totally forgot about the subcompact pike, by the way. That thing was there. I've never seen anything like that. That was so cool.
I am still trying to figure out how I'm going to make. I talked to Tyler Erickson, and I'm like, okay, how can I cut this tail off and still make it work? And eventually, once I get into my new place and set my studio up again, I've got 4 big walleye to paint, and I've got to do that. I'm going to try to come up with I got to come up with that hunchback. I'll have to paint her and get her hanging on the wall, but it's fun. And so the cool part about that for just about anybody out there, it's a little piece of memory. It's a little bit of fame, if you want to call it that. Target walleye's that big. So, you put your wacky weird fish on the wall and put a picture of you making target walleye or whatever. And it's just plain cool.
I love that, man. So
I think the biggest thing to me about target walleye is we all know how secretive walleye fishermen in general are. Fishermen anglers, they don't want to tell you. I mean, they don't want to tell you anything.
Drives me freaking nuts, man.
I've been getting big into the bass, like watching Bassmaster Elite, and Polinick wins out down in Florida, and he's throwing the bait to the 5 other guys in the canal with him. Doesn't care. There are walleye guys who are literally cutting their stuff off below the gunnel. You're like, yeah, we were pulling bottom bouncers over there. Yeah, you were pulling bottom bouncers in 80 foot doing this all day. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That is so true. And I mentioned Joel coming on board. One of the best things that has alleviated a lot of my stress is Joel is actually digging in and really embracing this interview process where, like tomorrow, he's going to be interviewing Hunter about his latest escapade with the MTT last week. And so, I'm like, you go get the juice from him and you get beat up for a while. Cause I've done it. It's painstaking at times.
Prying.
I get you. I had a chance to interview Bob Crow right after he won. Right.
Yes. That was
and then the generator quit.
It was right when you guys were getting into the specifics.
Yeah.
Too. I was like, and I came across it because I was trying to Google and find, interviews, photos, whatever, just seeing if there was shots from him at the weigh-in, and you already were live with him. I about crap my pants. I'm like, no way is somebody live in person with him. But yeah, right as he started getting into I'm in 2 to 4 feet of water, 3 to 4 feet of water, throwing swim baits up shallow, and it was like, brrr, and I was like, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it hurt so badly.
Full lesson not to run our new trailer off a generator doing a podcast. We learned a valuable lesson.
No, I love that though, because I heard you say, well, and I gotta ask because I know target walleye is gonna be bugging you. That's the thing. It's like it doesn't matter what series it is or whatever. It's like caught the winning fish on a jig. Yep. Like, okay, you go in the bass world and they're like, oh, I'm fishing this shell bed in 4 to 7 feet of water because it was whatever the water temp was 2 degrees warmer and there was shiners or shad spawning, or like they go into all these specifics of the why and the how and the what, and we just don't have any of that in the walleye world. And even like calling, text, and messaging, trying to pry the information out is so hard. And it's like, why does it matter how you caught it's going to be different tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been different 6 hours from now.
Yeah.
You know, try to replicate the bite. Just try. You know,
and it doesn't have to be the NWT or the MTT or something like that. You can go to a local derby or even a fishing league. Try to pry out the winning out of the winner combination out of a Tuesday night walleye whacker league here in the Brainerd Lake area. No way. And if you give up some sort of juice, somebody else is throwing something at you.
I mean,
it was crazy.
You know, I've been in the tournament industry for 18 years, and I run the South Dakota Governor's Cup. And probably 10 years ago, I had an issue where guys were accusing these guys of cheating. So I put 5 marshals in the boat the next year, and it's been that way ever for 10 years now with marshals in the boat. And man, guys wanted to kill me. Like they better not. One guy's like, what happens if they show up in our spot? And I said, if a guy shows up in your spot tomorrow, we're going to have a major issue. He goes, no, what about 5 years from now?
like it's going to be the same anyway. Like it's even going to be the same fish, right? Yeah.
You know, like just guys, like, and now they're all, you know, most of the guys like, yep, whatever, put them in the boat. We're going fishing. I've got one team, they got to be down there 45 minutes early so they can give their marshal a lecture about all this stuff. And he's like, are you going to make them sign NDAs? And I'm like, they're high school kids. Like, they're just out to learn, teach them.
Nobody cares that you took a Sharpie and drew an eye on your jig. Like,
yeah,
he's not going to go back and tell everybody at lunch.
Well, because that's the key, you know. And hey,
I do care, actually.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, too, you can literally sit in a boat with a guy, jig wrapping or whatever, and he's whooping your butt because he's got a better cadence than you, and you sit there and try to mimic him, still can't make it happen.
12 feet away, watching, doing the same thing and trying to duplicate it. So the guy who reads the little blurb about how you won, who's 287 miles away trying it on a different lake, it's like, come on, dude, give up the goods. And that's so like when you find guys like a Tom Wynn or, you know, people who don't hold everything back, and when they learn something, they spit it out. Like they just become my go-to people to look for content, because Jason Mitchell is another one. I mean, you know, if he's catching fish doing something, he's telling you, and that's why you see him in the email like probably every single week, because hardly anybody else is putting out stuff. You know, it's just
true. Like, Tom Boley, you know, I've been a Tom Boley fan, and so do you remember Seth Burrill?
Sounds familiar. I'm not sure.
So you go back, Extreme Anglers, I think. So it's BURRILL, I think. And so this is before Tom Boley. This is way back. Seth Burrill. I'll tell you, he did seminars out in Idaho on the Columbia, and the stuff I learned from that guy, it was so amazing. So he was my first taste of all of this YouTube stuff. Sure. And I fell in love with him. And then eventually Tom Boley came along, you know, and you guys and you you know, things really started to blow up in the social media world. So, you know, it's great to get information, because there are a lot of guys like me who, I mean, just not the best fishermen. We don't get to fish every day. You know, I fished 27 out of 30 days, 26, because we had 4 between Hooksets on Wednesday nights. I couldn't fish, but I had a great fall because I fished 26 days out of 30. So if anybody's going to ask me advice on how to catch fish, I'm just going to say, I don't know, fish 26 out of 30 days. I'm pretty damn sure you're going to catch something. Right.
I mean, even that, like, you know, at the fishing crew, we started doing a 1 hour live show during the middle of our tournaments and put cameras in 5 boats, and we sit in the studio and then bring them in and do kind of like we're doing tonight. But the guys who won the Sharp Showdown day 1, they had to make sure they were done jigging and starting to pull crankbaits by the time we got them on at the noon show. You know, day 2, they weren't so fortunate. They were pitching jigs on day 2 because they didn't have their fish yet. But that was like literally they just. I'm like, God, guys, like, nobody cares.
There are only so many colored jigs, right? And then you're going to use white plastic. I mean, if you're looking for walleye, it's going to be white.
Just so you know, Chris, Chasen is designing up a face tattoo of a money badger right now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So here's the. I'm not kidding. 100%. Whether people care or not, perch. Perch.
Oh,
And
wanna go wrong
honestly,
with it.
once the sun goes down, fire tiger. It's that boring.
I was going to say that's rocket science. If you looked at
Yeah,
my
right.
tackle box, like 85%, if not higher, is perch. And
Yeah.
if you ever fished the Brainerd Lakes area, you'd understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and here's the math on it: perch, money badger, 16 walleye, 119.5 pounds in 26 days. So not so
Just so you
bad.
guys know, he's fishing a nuclear waste pond, I've decided, because
Well, that's where the hunchback came from.
yes.
Now
right
that's
on
a secret I
the
can't tell. You know, you can't tell where you're fishing, right? I mean, if you're on a big lake, if you're fishing Bemidji, right? Okay, whatever. You know, there's all kinds of spaces out there, but these smaller ponds that we've got, the glacial lakes,
Yeah.
you just can't tell because the four of us could put our 4 boats on it, and there, you know, we'd be shoulder to shoulder anyway. So you little tight lip on where you're doing it, but. You know, gosh, I go to bed at night wishing I was Brett McComas and Chris Philen because, like, God, these guys get to fish and travel and get to do something.
Whatever. I want to
After
fish 26 out of
I was just going to
28
say that.
days.
I want your job. If you're fishing 26 out of whatever days, I want your job.
Well,
And
remember now, that was in November.
I mean, and that's, you know, that's a great point. I think guys think you two just fish all the time, and they don't realize what it takes to load this content, to do shows like this stuff,
Right.
and make this all happen. You have hours behind a laptop to make the stuff actually come to life.
Oh
I mean-
man, I yes, I spend more time behind a computer than fishing. That's for sure. It's if we just stopped doing the target walleye email, I could do a YouTube video a day, no problem. But I'll be danged if I could do a target walleye email in under 8 hours. That's the fastest I could possibly do one, and that's if it's short and I don't know, and I didn't get to really get the creative juices flowing, but I've spent up to 35 hours on a single one. I kept track on one of them that was more in depth, and it's like 35 hours for a single email.
Well,
That someone's going to skim in 2
Hopefully
minutes.
Kumar's not listening.
Yeah, he'd be upset about that.
but I mean, you got to think it takes all that time to gather all the content like you guys do. You know, you're nonstop on your phone or on your computer. We're looking for, like you said, I'm looking, as soon as the term is over, you're looking for Bobby Curler information. You know, like that's what you got to do to stay on top of this world. You know, we've been fortunate enough with our show to host the first state record, you know, walleye breaker within, you know, a couple days and broke. And then we had the next one 15 days later. You know, we've gotten lucky on a couple of those things that, like, boom, we're the first ones to have these guys. And, you know, Bobby Crow, you know, as soon as the term was over, we just happened to be right there for it. So, you know, it's so much fun that you get that stuff. But at the same time, the stuff you got, I mean, I can't imagine the amount of hours that goes into gathering stuff. And then the weeks you go, that's good, but this is better.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine, like, you know, having to like neck it down to something like, oh my gosh, you know.
True, but I'm not complaining. What I always say is if you work in the fishing industry, you work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40. But
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Trade it for anything, you know, 35, 40 hours a week in a cubicle. But to know you're done at 5 o'clock and you're checked out, you're done. That sounds nice. But when you're obsessed, you're obsessed. And I'll wake up at 2, 3 in the morning and have an idea, like have a weird dream and grab my phone and start taking notes. And then it's like, by that point, I'm already awake. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go edit that video. We're lucky to be able to do what we do, because there's not many careers or jobs or industries where you could jump into something at 2, 3 in the morning and actually want to, you know?
Yeah, true. Well, and then to be able to do that, because I'm kind of laughing a little bit because I do that. I'll wake up at whatever and go, okay, I got an idea for an In Through the Outdoors episode. Should I? Oh, I'll remember it, and then I don't. Like my trip to Namesville, and that's how Curt and I met. was the episode I did my trip to Namesville. And when I laid there in bed and thought about it, it was freaking funny. I mean, it was hilarious. And then I had to wake up the next morning and figure it out. Well, now if I wake up and I look at the clock and go, it's 1:30 and I got an idea, I grab my phone, I hit Google Docs, hit the microphone and go. Yes. And try to fall back to sleep again. But the cool thing is you spend an evening or 8 hours, 35 hours producing that stuff. And you know that it's not just for yourself, it's for a ton of other people and they consume it. And it is cool, right? You cool. Tune of 90,000 or 100,000 or 190,000, me to the tune of 90, but I'll take the 90.
Speaking of state record holder, there you go, right there. He told me when I announced him on the stage as state record holder, I said, one of these days you're going to get sick of it. He goes, never.
That's so cool. Oh, man.
But I mean, you get them stories, right? Like Key's story of being by himself, first fish of the day.
Yes.
Like, that's the cool part about this. Like, we always say we get the real story. That's kind of our, one of our things is we get the real story because we get to find out where Brett came from, where Chris came from, and not just what they do, but how you got to where you're at. And that's what the fun about this is. And I mean, literally my favorite thing about doing our little podcast is, me and Chasen, we're in Dakota Mart or in Runnings and somebody walked up to us and said, hey, I watched your show. I literally was leaving town talking to him one day, watched a car accident happen in front of me. A guy T-boned a girl. And I get out of I hang up with him. I'm call the cops. The girl's okay. I go check out the guy and his van's totaled. And I'm walking up to him. He goes, are you the guy from between Hooksets? And I'm like, wait, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Your van's smoking down here. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, yes, it's me.
That's hilarious, man.
I mean, that's the stuff that makes it worth doing this stuff. Right. Like me and Chasen say, we've never got to a Wednesday night. We're like, oh my God, it's Wednesday night. Like, oh, we got to get on a show tonight. And trust me, there's been hectic nights where he's at a baseball game or I've got to go eat with a sponsor or whatever. And we got to wing it. But this stuff is what we all enjoy doing. The reason we're all four sitting on the podcast tonight is because we love a thing that swims in the water, a fish.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, isn't that the truth? And, by the way, Curt, I'll be in Devil's Lake not next weekend, but on the 21st. Sorry, but Association of Great Lake Outdoor Writers. Are you going to be there, Curt?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we'll do Between Hooksets live from Devil's Lake then.
Wow, that'll be an event.
Yeah, well,
how much time do we got? We were talking about giving up the juice. Before we go, I was going to give up some juice about something that Target Walleye has been cooking.
Oh, yeah, please do. We've got a solid 8 minutes, or we can go for another hour. We don't care.
Well, I know McComas' schedule. He's probably got pizza on the way and kids to take to baseball or something. So
you're half right. I wish I had pizza.
All the other stuff, but haven't you learned to put a piece of pizza in your pocket yet?
I already ate it.
Here, look, Brett, just real quick. If you're looking for good food that travels well with the kids, peanut butter and bologna peeps and Lay's potato chips. Okay,
I would try the chips.
Chris,
his
back
favorite
to you and the secret.
It is terrible. Like, it is terrible. Like, he's made fishermen try it, and they're like, this is nasty. The only one I've ever had, in his defense, was on gluten-free bread. We're on Lake Oahe, and there wasn't enough water in the lake to make that bread moist.
All right, Chris. Now we're gonna give you the floor, and you finish.
Well, we've been talking about some, different things about getting people involved, not only, with Target Walleye, but more specifically walleye fishing and how to create some excitement and do something new. And we've had people talking to us, through social channels and other means about, doing tournaments. Well, we've been playing around with it for quite some time, and we had to, put the thing in the oven and let it bake for a while, but it's about ready to come out of the oven. And shortly here, you're going to start seeing us advertising a lot. We got a brand new Target Walleye presented by Garcia FishDonkey tournament. This is going to be a nationwide tournament. We're going to start it off at June 1st. We're going to have 3 consecutive months. June, July, and August. You can sign up for 1 or all 3 months. For each one of those months, there's also going to be a side pot. We're going to be using the FishDonkey app. We're going to have 5 regions, north, south, east, and west. Canada's included in the northern region, so everybody's involved. And it's just going to be a fun. We're, again, it's new to us, so we're just going to learn a lot and see where it goes and see how we can tweak this. But Abu Garcia really stepped up and had some awesome prizes, just a little bit out of the bag. First prize, for instance, is a brand new Xenon rod and reel combo. So we're talking about a $1,200 rod and reel that most guys, are like, yeah, how would I ever get that? Well, this is an opportunity. And then there's a couple other, a second and a random prize each month. And then there's going to be like a $500 gift card for a $20 side pot. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're expecting some big things, but I think you'll see a lot of push behind that in the next couple of weeks here.
Ooh, okay. So hang on. I just put my In Through the Outdoors episodes together for May 12th through the 16th. I'm going to change that now. I'm going to have to scratch one off, and you don't mind if I share that then, do you? Because we just did it tonight, right? We broke the news. I'm going to go make a.
And that FishDonkey thing is great for level like that. I mean, you're going to get everybody involved, and anybody can enter it. It's going to be fun. It's fun to get people out and do the different things. I mean, it's not limited to age group, right? I mean, it can be all ages involved in this thing and anywhere you're at. That's
for anybody sure. One thing and everybody. And to even make it more exciting, we know that, $20 isn't a big investment for a lot of people. So if you're a bassy kind of guy too, we're going to run the exact same tournament and same details, except on the Bass Blaster side. So when you go to FishDonkey, you can sign up for Bass Blaster and you can sign up for Target Walleye. And depending on, you're throwing the Brett McComas Ned rig out there, who knows what you're going to get. So you could be entered into 2 different contests simultaneously.
True.
Definitely. One thing I got to say is it is a tournament. So there are prizes for the biggest fish, the biggest stringer of 3 walleyes, things like that. But there are also random prizes because I don't want somebody to go, why would I fish that? I'm not going to be able to catch 3 27-inch walleyes in the month of May or whatever. So there's random prizes. You could catch an 18-inch walleye and be in whatever place and win an Abu Garcia gift card or whatever the prize is. So it's just a fun, exciting way to get involved and yeah, everybody has a shot at something cool. So
that's awesome. I love it.
It's not limited to if you're in a fishing tournament. If you're out there in another tournament, you can take your pictures of your fish and submit them.
Right. And the cool thing about the side pot as well is it's going to be a little bit different each month in the sense that it's going to be a specific bait. So we're going to kind of target the type of fishing that is predominant for that month. Like you might see, again, this is a pure fishing or Abu Berkeley type of sponsorship. They're our headliner. So maybe it's going to be the month of June. Your fish for the side pot has to be caught on a Berkeley finisher, and that you have to have your money shot with that fish caught with the bait that's mouthed. And yeah, people will say, oh, did he really do it? We can't regulate that. It's all about fun. It's not huge stakes, but it's really going to put a whole new element in it. It'll allow people to try different techniques and maybe experience some different baits that they normally wouldn't.
Well, Chasen just wants you to have a month of October with money badgers.
Or November. That would be fine. But honestly, the really cool thing is like a guy like me can get on and I can become as famous as Hunter Nitty by constantly winning every time I enter a tournament. Almost, the guy sucks at losing. Wow.
Right.
No, I just want to know if you guys seen Hunter Nitty's minnows from the Lake Sharp event. They were literally in nuclear green water because he had so much G juice, so they're trying to keep him alive. No. Jim called me and goes, Hunter's having bait problems. Well, they didn't realize the cabin they were staying at had rural water, and they kept filling their bait tank full of rural water and killing their minnows. But the picture I got, I mean, it was glowing in the dark with G juice in there.
Oh my gosh.
Love that, Hunter, about the G Juice minnows because it was literally glowing in the dark.
I will.
Okay, I got to pop this up because I don't want to forget. The Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge coming up. I guess, Chris, we talked about maybe talking about that. And before we wrap things up, I want to make sure you guys get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, that is coming up. What you had up there, that graphic is something completely different. That's the gala down in the Twin Cities. That's all the guys getting together at a big auditorium and singing. It's a wonderful event. So feel free to get involved with that. It's a wonderful night. But what we're going to talk about is the Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge Fishing Challenge. It's going on, I believe it's year 12 or 13. I forget. But it has become one of the largest nonprofit fishing tournaments there is, and every cent of it goes to help fund the guys and the gals that are going through Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. The program was started again by Jim Kelkafin and Al Linder, and Al Linder's still the face of this. You can come down there and you'll see guys like Al Linder and a whole bunch of pros just hanging out, having fun, and anybody can join. There's no money, there's no check to cash, but the incentive is that you're raising money for a great cause, and at the end of the day, they're giving prizes out. There is a tent filled. There's 5 different divisions you can enter, and literally, I mean, you can go out and catch just, a couple of small bass and still walk through the prize tent and come away with a really nice rod and reel or a Humminbird electronics of some sort. Just a great cause, and it's really helping a program stay afloat. It is a faith-based program, so they don't get a lot of the funding that other organizations do, and that's why we do this, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to keep the door open. So it's just good to get the word out there and let people know it's coming up this year it's on May 31st on Gull Lake. There's a big weigh-in at Craigan's Beach. It's just a ball. Again, you'll just have a blast. I invite everybody to take part in it. If you want to you don't want to fish, you want to get involved, each one of us have a fundraising link that you can click on and help save.
This is it.
My wife is promo in here too. She is one of the most premier volunteers you'll ever see. She bleeds for that program, and also the Fishing to End Hunger tournament at the end of the year that Brett and I have a partner up for to help feed starving people, and that's another great nonprofit organization that really every cent of that tournament goes back into that program to help feed not people in other countries, but right here in our own backyard in Minnesota, helping out, this food epidemic. And people do not realize how many people are literally starving. And a lot of kids, the only meal that they get every day is the one they get when they go to school. And so, we're trying to help with that cause as well.
In a lot of these smaller communities, you would think a small community, you wouldn't have homeless or people that go without food. And it's amazing the numbers in Brookings, South Dakota. It blows my mind.
It is. It's unbelievable. And on the other end, back to Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge, I don't know if there's a bigger epidemic than addiction. Alcohol and drug addiction. It's just something if you're in a room with 1,000 people and asked everybody, do they know somebody or have somebody in their life that is affected by addiction? If not every single hand in the room doesn't go up, I would be very amazed. I mean, it's just that big and that powerful. And this program saves lives, and I'm a walking testimony. I'm a 2012 honors graduate, and it helped save my life.
That is inspirational. Curt, by the way, we won't be getting a participation award for this show tonight because I had the wrong graphic again. I do that every once in a while. I see something and go, "Oh yeah, hey, I'll take that."
We got a great participation award. We had two guys that we both kind of look up to, and a lot of people look up to. And I was just going to compliment you guys. And not only is this your job, it's your life. Yeah. And you're not out there just creating content for money, but you're also giving back and doing all this stuff. And hats off to you guys. It's truly an inspiration.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you on the show. Thank
Likewise,
you
fellas.
so much. Brett, appreciate you taking time away from the family and surprising us. Wonderful. Chris, thank you for hooking Brett up too. Thank you for agreeing to come on. And it's been an hour of fun.
We have to get you boys out here to Lake Oahe.
Love
And,
it.
Yes.
you know, we can do a salmon, walleye. We can get it all in one trip.
Bass, paddlefish.
I
You
literally
absolutely need to.
cleaned my paddlefish last weekend. The guy came in with a limit of salmon, and I'm like, who they're on? So, I mean, we have salmon here. Get out here. We'll get you guys hooked up, and we'll get out on the water and get some content out here.
We could even
I
do a
wanna
little sideshow of maybe a chopped episode of which fisherman could make the best meal out of those crazy peeps that you keep showing.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I will never challenge Chris.
I wouldn't want to show those again or anything.
Side episode of who can make the best fish, because I guarantee we all have a different fish recipe.
Yeah.
But mine
You
is
know.
good. Mine is good. I will. We won't even talk about what it is because sometime if I get to cook for you, you will like it. I think you will like it if you like very crispy fish. Tender
I
fish with crispy
Hey,
coating.
it's pretty good. So,
Sign me
but yeah,
up.
let's get together and actually do a show together and have some fun and come on out here to beautiful Lake Oahe and let's catch some fish.
That sounds
All right.
great.
We got to
Appreciate
do
you
it
guys.
one day for sure.
Love it.
Enjoy the Minnesota opener.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a
Sure,
good, fun,
finally.
safe weekend.
All right.
And
guys.
with the warmer weather, that metabolism thing's got to be. The bite should be blowing up.
It should be going crazy. Water temp's almost 60 on these
Yeah.
lakes. I mean,
Oh, is it really?
yeah, and normally it's upper 40s, and the first week is a little slow, and you're waiting for it to get to 55, and it's like, dude, it's already there. So I mean, it should be go time minus the 45-mile-per-hour winds, but
Of course.
it always calms down at night a little bit.
That's a South Dakota thing, man. That's what we're used to.
Great.
20 isn't even a breeze.
Oh my. Well, fellas, it's been great. Appreciate you taking time out. Appreciate you for everything that you do. And Chris, thank you for your friendship. And Brett, when you're not so busy, hopefully we get to chat with you a time or two in person. So thank you much.
Love it, man. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, guys.
Yeah, you
Take
guys
care,
take
guys.
care.
We'll do
Thank
it
you.
again.
See ya.
Oh, yeah, man.